first lap. Yeah. Hey skiers, I'm Jeff from Skiessentials.com.
I'm Emily.
Really excited to have Emily here. If you follow us on social media, maybe you saw a little clip we shared of Emily back in the season. She's actually been working with us for a while now, but much more behind the scenes.
Yep.
So she earned her spot in the videos, so to speak. We're really excited to have her feedback and input on some women's specific reviews. So this is the first one.
It is.
Excited to be here?
Very excited to be here.
Good.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And I suppose we should mention the ski too. It is the Salomon QST Lumen 98 over here. This is the previous QST Lumen 99, which before we get into it, somewhat of a, I don't know if unique is the right word, but noteworthy development in the sense that Salomon made the same changes to the men's model a year prior. So it was almost like the men's QST 98 and the QST blank acted as like test skis for the rest of the changes to the new line. Probably a month ago now, we did the men's QST 106 review. So that's kind of the same story in the sense that the 106 for next year gets the same changes that the 98 got. So now all the women's QSTs, they get all those same changes as well. So pretty exciting stuff.
Very.
One of the obvious first changes before we kind of do a refresher on construction, massive change in shape. And I know you kind of picked up on that right away.
Immediately, right when I saw them.
Ton of taper, ton of rocker.
Yep.
And I think you felt it while you were skiing too.
Yes.
So that said, let's do a really quick refresher on construction in these skis. Construction hasn't changed a lot. Full poplar wood core. There's Salomon's CFX Superfiber. I don't think they don't call it Superfiber anymore, but I still do because they did when they first came out with it, and I thought that term was awesome. It's a weave of carbon and flax. It's really interesting.
Very.
As a reminder, if you watch our videos, carbon gives a ski a lot of energy. The downside to carbon is it can be very pingy. So the flax kind of helps dampen the ski. And then to further dampen the ski, we get cork damplifier, which is a funny term for just using cork in the tips and tails. Cork is extremely absorbent, and it really does a good job of absorbing vibrations. And then finally for construction, we get this double sidewall underfoot, which when you take away as much camber that they did in this ski, they really shortened the effective edge. I think that's really important, and we'll hear what Emily has to say about that in a little bit here. And then just touching quickly on shape, and then I'll stop talking because I know you just all want to hear from Emily, not from me. A lot more rocker in this ski, a lot more taper too. So you can really see it, and we'll look at the previous ski in a second here. Just by length of rocker, I mean, if you had to throw out a percentage, I'd say almost 50% of the ski is rocker in the tips and tails. The tails got a lot of rocker too. So to compare that to the previous ski, longer effective edge in this ski. Still, I would say this ski still had a good amount of rocker to it, but you can see just the difference in rocker shape from this ski to that ski. The other big difference in shape is taper. So way more taper in this ski. The widest part of the ski is way down here, where on the previous ski, a little further up the ski. Not exactly the same lengths here, but close enough that you can kind of consider it a fair comparison.
Yep.
So that's about it for construction and shape. The last thing I'll say is, excuse me, this ski has a 15-meter turn radius, where this ski had a 19-meter turn radius.
Pretty drastic.
Yeah, that's a huge drop in turn radius. And we saw similar stuff on the men's side, but I don't think it was quite that abrupt. So I'll stop talking about construction and shape. Here, you can take the ski because it's really more your ski than my ski. Lucky that you got to test it with a shift binding on it. Before we kind of get into your exact experience, tell these people a little bit about yourself as a skier.
Yeah.
Where do you ski mostly? What do you like to do?
I would say right now I ski mostly at Mad River Glen. I'm a free ride coach there, so I work with a lot of athletes skiing anywhere from moguls to trees to pretty much anything freestyle oriented. And I also love to go to Stowe and Sugarbush and get to ski a lot of, groomers and get to ski faster, steeper terrain, which Mad River sort of lacks.
Yeah, sure.
So luckily I had the chance to ski on the QST 98s one day at Sugarbush and one day at Mad River Glen.
Get a little bit of both.
Yeah, which was awesome and really spoke to the overall performance of the ski. Upon seeing them for the first time, like Jeff said, I was immediately impressed and curious about the shape and the profile. Like you mentioned, the early taper and dramatic rocker in both the tip and the tail. I was curious to see how they would perform given that. I also was curious because I normally ski on a longer ski. These are a 168, and I was wondering, kind of just given the shorter effective edge, they are 168, yeah. I'm on more of a 172 on a given day. So given that, I was curious to see how they would perform if they'd be skiing pretty short and with the core construction, given that they're made of wood, poplar wood, I was curious to see if they would be pretty light and soft. And the first couple runs I took at Mad River, I was immediately very impressed with the maneuverability and the shorter turning radius. You said that the 99s were 19?
Yeah.
And I had the chance to ski the 99s a couple of days, and beside these having the shorter turning radius, the 99s have, they're more of a directional ski. So that said, these did extremely well in moguls, tight trees. I felt like the edge-to-edge transfer of energy was fantastic. Really poppy, lively ski. But, when I wanted to take them off, some features and get some air, I was, nervous that they would be overpowered. Didn't know kind of the limitations with them.
Mostly because of the shape.
Yeah, the shape, and them being a little bit shorter, and then with the shorter effective edge, just didn't know if I would be, like I said, overpowering them.
Yep.
And just was really impressed overall with the whole performance of the ski. They really could handle everything from quick bump turns, which I have a background in, and I definitely am drawn more to that kind of skiing and turning, versus long arcing turns. I'm more of a snappy, quick turning skier.
Which is kind of the terrain that Mad River's known for.
Definitely.
A lot of like super tight technical tree lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, you never, like you said, you're never getting like an opportunity to like really open it up and like let your skis run. You're pretty much always skiing with a very like active and engaged style.
Yep.
And yeah, I think this ski does that
highly
extremely
responsive.
Well.
Yep. And with the little bit of tail splay, I didn't have a ton of opportunity to ski switch on these, but I think you can. I did a little bit, and I definitely look for that in skis. It's just I do like to ski switch, and having the option to do that just kind of makes the ski overall more well-rounded and an all-mountain ski. Like for my everyday ski, would love it to be able to have that ability.
Yeah, I like to think of the park performance of this ski, and I feel like we had a very similar conversation when we talked about the men's QST 98, is it's like sort of a fringe application. Like it's not really what the ski is designed for.
Right.
It can do it. I personally wouldn't really recommend it to somebody who's like spending a lot of time in the park.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think it would be the best there, but if you're the type of skier like yourself that like you're spending most of the time skiing moguls and trees, but you might head into the park for a little bit, I think it's actually a really cool choice for that.
Yeah, and then like I was saying on the groomers too, was curious to see kind of how they would perform given just the shorter, more rockered profile. And, I was bringing them up to speed and really driving them and skiing them aggressively, and they did not fail. They really impressed me with that. So just adding to the capabilities of the ski.
Sure.
And just super stable underfoot too. Like you were saying, the construction with the wood and the
Double
CFX.
sidewalls.
Yep, and the double sidewall technology, that really tied it all together for me personally. Felt really confident and just really stable.
Now, I felt the exact same way on the men's 98. It is interesting to me, especially like going shorter like this. How much did the shorter turn radius affect you on a groomer? Like, did you feel like you were locked into shorter turns?
No.
Or did you feel like you could, like I was saying before, like you don't get to do this at Mad River.
Right.
Like, could you really open it up and get the ski to run?
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is interesting that they somehow built in that capability while making it super quick and agile too.
Yeah, just adding to the versatility. You're not limited to, that more technical terrain. You can definitely, have a lot of fun on the groomers and really drive these skis at high speeds too.
Now, obviously the ski is kind of designed or it's intended, or there's at least a possibility of putting this binding on here.
Yep.
Do you see this as something that you would take and tour on too?
Yes, and I was going to speak to that because unfortunately I wasn't able to get out and tour on these. Our touring season was a little limited this winter.
You can still go.
That's true. There's still time. So maybe I'll do that in the next couple days.
We'll
really
make her take the skis with her.
Yeah, we'll circle back. But so far I haven't had the chance to. But given how light they are, I think they would be a perfect East Coast touring ski. What are they weighing in at?
With a shift on it? I don't know. That's a good question. 2,633 grams, which is, I'm not used to weighing women's skis. That's really light.
Yeah. And that said, though, given the lightness of them, they are very strong and capable.
Yeah.
Which is what I really love about them. I mean, for an everyday driver, I would definitely turn to these.
It's an impressively versatile ski, for sure.
Yep.
And I did just say I'm not used to weighing women's skis. I really should specify that there's no difference between the men's and women's QST skis. The construction's the same. Even like the shaping's pretty much the same across the board. Obviously, you'll get a little bit different breakdown in dimensions and stuff like that. But I was more just referring to the fact that I'm not used to weighing lengths like this.
Yep.
So although it's the women's ski in the catalog and it gets a different graphic, it is the same.
Yep.
So, if you wanted a shorter QST 98 and you preferred this color as a man, there's no reason you couldn't.
It is a good color.
And vice versa. If you wanted to go longer and you preferred the darker blue, you can make whatever decision you want.
Yeah.
It's 2022. I'm not going to judge.
No, you're not. Neither am I.
So awesome skis, super, super agile in the trees.
Yep.
Perfectly capable on a groomer. It's not like a carving ski.
Yep.
It's not built to be the strongest, most powerful carving ski in the world.
Yep.
But I think what it sounds like is if you're the type of skier like you, spend a lot of time in the moguls, trees, stuff like that, but you also expect a certain amount of groomer performance out of your ski, this isn't going to let you down.
No, definitely not. I really like the whole QST line. I had more experience on the Stella 106s.
Yep.
When I was living out west, but
and you just took a pair out to Big Sky.
I did, and really enjoyed myself on those out there. But for East Coast everyday ski, the 98s, highly recommend. And I hope to get on them a lot more next winter.
Boy, I can see the comments coming in right now. I know all sorts of people are going to say, hey, you can ski these out west too. And
I think you can.
You absolutely can too. I think it speaks to Emily as a skier saying this is a good width for the East Coast. I agree.
Yep.
But I think 98 is certainly justifiable west
Absolutely.
coast too, depending on how you ski, conditions, stuff like that. Thank you, Emily.
Yeah, thank you.
Any parting words that you want to leave our audience with?
I'm excited to get to chat with you more about all of the skis that I've skied so far, and share my knowledge and speak to more women-specific skis for Ski Essentials.
Awesome. No, we're psyched to have you.
Thank you.
If you have any questions about the QST Lumen 98, leave a comment, as you often do. I will reach out to Emily and have her answer those comments, so it's not just Bob or myself answering a comment about a women's ski. I think it'd be more appropriate if you heard straight from Emily. So feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions. And yeah, thanks, Emily.
Yeah, thank you.
We'll see you out there on the slopes.
See ya.
Sweet.